Hi friends! Today is day 3 of our Best of 2021 series and we are covering eyeshadow palettes. I know I could have expanded into eyeshadow singles and eyeliners, but you know I need to keep it civil, okay? But before I move on, if it's your first time here, hi! I'm Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things, all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, so you can head over to my Instagram. If you are thinking about joining class online, well then please sign up for my newsletter down below. I just kept it to 5 palettes, fam. That's it, and 1 mascara. I could have, again, included different eye products. There are eye cream products that I loved, eyeliners, but for the sake of my own brain, and also a lesson for myself to keep better record of the products I use throughout the year. So when December comes, I don't feel overwhelmed and feel inclined to just include things here and there because I couldn't remember what I used for the entire year. I thought I should present my standout eyeshadow palettes that I instantly fell in love with, that I found myself using over and over again, and no matter how I combined the shadows, the finishes, however, I loved my eye look and I returned for more. Now that doesn't mean that I only love these 5 and hated any other eyeshadow palette I use for the duration of the Gia. This just means that I kept it as simple as possible, that these are the ones that just were like a higher from others that I love also. With that said, I would love to start out with what I consider to be an everyday palette, one that I can rely on for warm looks, spicy looks, casual looks. It is the Artist Couture Supreme Bronze Eyeshadow Palette. Now, I did mention in a video, which I will compile a playlist for all the eyeshadow palette videos I have filmed prior to this one if you want to see swatches, multi-looks, okay, in action. I do like Supreme Nude better. However, that's not to invalidate Supreme Bronze's role in just delivering a solid eyeshadow experience. You have a mixture of matte finishes, satin, sparkly, arcly metallic that I find to be a little drier than the formula found in Supreme Nudes, but bearable, okay? It's not terrible. In fact, it's quite pretty. When applied all over the lid, when you let it melt into your skin, you have a nice twinkle effect that I think subtle enough to get away for those corporate conservative environments that you really can't wear those types of typically finishes in. But the shades themselves are neutral. So the one I just swatched was HBIC. That was more the bronze. Glisten is more of like a taupe, which I think fantastic for every day. So you have a wide range of different looks. You can dial up the smokiness. You can dial up more of like the red tones, especially if you include Sun-Kissed into your blend and then you combine it with Soleil. That's going to give you like a hot spicy eye, right? But you also have the shades in here that lean more neutral. If you combine these 3, that's definitely cooler in tone. That could be like your New Year's eye or just your event trio, right? With the black, the taupe, and the more beige. And then you have Glisten, again, that beautiful taupe that has the silver sparkles in there to party it up. I just like the dependability of Supreme Bronze. The construction is wonderful. It's black, magnetic closure, it's thin, it goes well in a lot of my makeup cases. As a nice size mirror that stands up on its own, I can rely on this for my entire makeup routine when on the go. So I had to give a 1 spot Best of 2021 eyeshadow palettes to Supreme Bronze because I do find the Supreme series in Artist Couture is pretty solid, and Angel does a fantastic job of curating shades and different finishes, I think suitable for the makeup beginner and even the makeup professional to achieve beautiful looks with. Next up, which is a little controversial because I do think not a lot of people, or maybe half and half, did not like this palette. It is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension Eyeshadow Palette. Now, this was unique in it included 2 cream eyeshadows under the plastic flap here, so the powder shadows don't get in there. I do appreciate a cream shadow base for several reasons. I do think cream shadows lend that more skin-like appearance on the lids. I think necessary to consider if you have drier lids, if you have texture lids. I think people with those types of conditions tend to use more creams that are more emollient on the eyes, and because of that, the finish just looks very blurred on the skin, and I do think easier to deal with than a powder that might be debatable, but I do think these cream textures are easy to blend. You could keep it at that and maybe tap on one of the shimmers or metallics in here that are worth noting. So they do get a little hard pan as you use them. I rely my finger to pick these textures up and place them on the lid, because a brush, you will have to use a stiffer brush, I do think, to get enough of the product from the pan. But what's noteworthy is the sparkle factor. So it's very light on the swatch, but when you place it on the eye, you have a beautiful twinkle effect that's not overwhelming, that I think very friendly to wear on several types of skin, lid, texture, conditions, environments. And the overall color story, as you see, is a very warm bronze, almost like rust type of a feel in terms of the color story presented here. And you know what, I can't help myself. I love those types of shades. I think they are just so sultry on the eyes. They look so warm and inviting, and the fact that you have the creams in here will allow you to dial up the intensity a little more if you want a little more smokiness from these tones, or if you want to keep it lighter, you can. And the fact that Patrick included these textures that I do think easier to work with than, as much as I love Mother Pat McGrath, that her actual shades I know are not for everyone. As beautiful as they are, as significant as they are in delivering that twinkle sparkle effect times 1000, sometimes, maybe all the time, people don't want to use those textures. It's too drying for their skin, terrible for their eyeballs, whatever. To have something within a similar realm that's easier to apply and to deal with, I totally understand, and I can align with that thought process for someone who wants to twinkle, who wants to shine, doesn't want to deal with the texture, just wants more of a seamless experience. And I think that's what the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette delivers. The mattes are very smooth. They're on the powdery side, but I think really nice to blend. And again, the tones, although warm, this is like a peachy brown type of a palette, and say with me, I love my peachy brown. I think it's just so soft. It's not rosy in tone, but not completely like bronzy brown either. That's what Supreme Bronze does for me. This delivers like that peachy brown, a little bit of rose, a little bit, which I think just great for every day, especially if you love smoky eyes, but you know, maybe a little too much. You don't want to do the black eyeshadow. You don't want to do the deep dark bark browns, that espresso shade that I love also, but it could get smoky very fast. These tones just have a little more room in terms of how much you can apply, but you're still in that zone of like daily smoke friendly. And if you even want more intensity, Patrick did release eyeliners with this palette. I believe it was a total of 4, like the deep brown shade, the more metallic bronze. I didn't get any of them. I am shocked that I didn't. So if you want a little more intensity, I understand that this only goes up to a certain level, right, in terms of the depth you can achieve with the shades included in this palette. I do think you can use the eyeliner or a deeper eye base to get heavier on the outer corner, and then you could use these shades on the lid to create that bronzy, peachy, smoky look. So pretty. Next up is the Viseart Étendu Cashmerie. I adore this palette. So, okay, as you see with the tank top and what I have on my eyes, I don't have this one. I have my number one on my eyes, which you probably have already figured out by now. But anyway, these shades, the mauvey, rosy tones, okay, get me They get me every time. I'm not sure if it's because I started my makeup journey loving the browns and the bronzes and those warm tones. I gravitated towards those shadows. I use them often. And now since I ventured out of that color story and experimented with different parts of the spectrum, more purple, more blue, more green, applying the same eyeshadow techniques that I dove into using the warmer shades again at the beginning of this, I apply those same techniques using the mauves and the more plummy browns, and man oh man, like I can't get enough. I'm trying to use my spatula to open the box because I just painted my nails for this video and I already messed up this finger. You can't see it from here, so you gotta stay away, all right? Don't come in close. These tones, you got the plum, you got more of like the purpley mauve, but you still got those neutrals there to keep it together, okay, to ground everything down. Even if they weren't included, like Violet definitely leans overall more purple amethyst, okay, giving you those eggplant tones, all right? This is a little more center, right? If I were to put this somewhere on the Étendu spectrum from Viseart, it'll be Mooncat, Violet, Cashmerie right in the middle. And I love best of both worlds because I love Mooncat too. Mooncat is one of my faves. I probably would have included that palette too, but I decided to go with this because it's just something different for me. The fact that, again, you still have the warmer shades here, lovely, beautiful, silvery lilac shades also to pair with the more earthy tones. So you have room to steer the look exclusively more lilac or more plum mauve or plum mauve brown. I love those options, and I've said this over and over again in regards to Viseart's eyeshadow formula, top shelf. It is so easy to blend these mattes. They just blur on the skin effortlessly, and the shimmer's also very smooth on the skin. Yes, they might not be your super sparkly, arcly indie brand experience. I get it. That's why we go to the indie brands, okay, to get that dazzle razzle. If you want something softer but you still want, again, a reasonable amount of shine, Viseart has it here for you. Also, there are shades with a little more twinkle, so I think there's a little more pearl and mica in some shades more than others, that when the shadow settles onto your lids, like over the course of several hours, it just looks so shiny and sparkly, again, while appearing soft. Very easy to apply. A lot of these metallics also, you don't need a matte to blend out. They're so soft and blurring on the skin that if you just buff the edges out with a blender brush, whether it be traditionally a candlelight shaped one or a fluffy shader, as I like to use these shadows with, the finish is gorgeous, and I think suitable for makeup beginners, especially for those who are not into using 10 brushes per eye, okay? They just want 1 or 2 brushes, and they need a reliable formula that's going to be there for them, that's going to hold it down no matter how they blend. Even if it's small circles, the eyeshadow is going to look beautiful. Okay, that's why I had to include this palette, because much like what I expressed about the Supreme Bronze palette from Artist Couture, the size. First of all, this is so lovely. The pattern here on the actual palette, the ribbon tab, is magnetic. Here you have 12 shades, I think reasonably sized per pan. Maybe if you really wanted to bring 2 blushes, you can now, because the eyeshadow palette is small enough for you to do that. Travelability, is that a word? I'm using it now, oh well. Easy to use design, color story, formula, again, that's why it's on this list. Next one, and you might be surprised, that Utopian Dream is not on this list. Like I said before, I'm showing my favorite mascara, sorry. It's not that I didn't love Utopian Dream, okay? I adore that palette. I'm a Pat McGrath simp, okay? Simp. The reason why I chose Celestial Odyssey over Utopian Dream, hear me out, hear me out. I enjoy the breadth of colors and textures included in this palette. Now, like I said before, when describing Pat's actual shades, Astral, Orchid Moon, I think Orchid, the really pretty shiny shade in Utopian Dream, I adore. I love also the burgundy trio chrome shade in there, that you have a burgundy moment, but you also have the cooler astral shade that can steer more violet blue. I love that. I love those opportunities. The thing with Celestial Odyssey is just the fact that you have such a huge range here. Brown, pink, turquoise, lime, gold of course is Pat, midnight blue, bronzy this, whatever that, taupey, lilac, freaking orange. Now there are some repeats in here, okay, from the Idols lineup. I believe this is one of them. That's fine, okay, fine. I do enjoy using this palette more because, again, I have 15 shades, no, 18. I have 18 shades, can't count. I have the blue moments, the bronzy moments, exclusively blue, teal, midnight moments. I have lilac. I have the deep mahogany brown. I have this beautiful rose shade. You know what I mean? I understand that this palette doesn't have the classic astral shades. I get it. And I'm not saying that I don't like those shades. I have to be in a certain mindset to use those shades. And because of that, I find myself reaching for Celestial Odyssey more than I do Utopian Dream. It's the same argument I use why I think Midnight Sun Mothership 6 that I favor over a Bronze Seduction 5. Debatable. Bronze Seduction, I have to be in a certain mindset for. Like, for me to dive into those textures, into that heat that palette possesses, you know, I can't go at that every day. But Midnight Sun, I can apply every day with ease. I could be here on the chill or all the way here with like the lit up, you know, if I want to use Blood Moon or what have you. The astral shade is not a fun color like the orchid one found in Utopian Dream, but the sparkle is like the disco ball shade. It's the stardust shade that could look good on anything. And I wanted to mention quickly the Intensifies wand that my apologies, I don't have with me. It's in one of my makeup bags because I've been using it. I do like that formula, although someone has said there's another brand, perhaps an indie one, that has a similar product. So I'm not saying you have to buy Pat Intensifies. You could use whatever you want. You could use glitter glue. You could go in with more primer with a flat shader brush, whatever. I do think it helpful for the more textured shades, the ones that need a little more grip, a little more adherence, to apply that on your lid. Like Blood Moon. Blood Moon is very dry and flaky, okay? When I use the Intensifies wand with that shade, next level. Now I found myself going back into older Mothership palettes using Intensifies because, again, it amplifies the shine, it secures the hold, and the flakiness from those shades have a lesser chance of falling on your cheeks, of falling into your eyes. A lot of people ran into that issue, and the fact that it was in a pen-like dispenser, in terms of like you just have to go bloop, you don't have to put more on your finger, you don't have to put more on your brush. I just like the application, its practicality. So not only, again, to Celestial Odyssey, but for the Intensifies wand, I think a game changer for a lot of Pat McGrath textures. Maybe it's a conspiracy she made those textures like that on purpose to make the Intensifies wands. I'm starting rumors, how dare I? Anyway, all that to say, again, as much as I love Utopian Dream, I love the fact that the pans are larger, that you can use a few of those shades on the cheeks as I have, as blush and as highlighter. I just like the fact that I have 18 of Pat's shades in the metallic and matte formula that is solid, okay? It's big though. You know, I don't know where I'm taking this to. That will be the only issue I have with this size. I could also argue that for the Mothership palette, that thing is heavy and could be easily broken, cracked in transit, however, so you got to pack that well if you insist on bringing it along. But I think this is a lot easier to deal with. You know, you're gonna need a big mama makeup bag to bring this along, but if you insist, you'll have all the shades at your disposal. And now to present my favorite out of the entire year, the eyeshadow palette that really dove deep into my full understanding of this color story, that just made my brain go blur, and also why I have this nail polish on. So Mooncat, formerly known as Live Love Polish, had like a matte collection. It was matte but like shiny at the same time, inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. And what eyeshadow palette did I associate with that author? I know you know. Retro. People were expecting khaki green from Mini Retro. I understand that because that might have been the favorite color from the palette for many. This, for me, and I have it on my eyes, it blossomed my understanding of where Natasha was going with the burgundy, the roses, the gray. I cannot get enough of this palette. This is the most of the cream to matte formula we had in one midi size palette from Natasha. I know they're repeats. I know you're gonna get on me about the repeats. Why do you have a favorite eyeshadow palette with repeats, Alicia? Listen, the 3 repeats do exist in Lila, my most favorite Natasha palette of all time. I like that they're in here, okay? There are also some of her favorites and why she insisted on having them in here. The fact that you have like this taupe, the opart, a soft taupey gray that you could just wear on its own, or you could go more lilac, more rosy lilac as I did here. The more deep, full-bodied burgundies, again, I just love like that. As I was speaking about on my community board when I first posted my video with this palette, like that vampire, romantic rose, Victorian era, that I died when I realized what this color story reminded me of. It brought me there. And when you have palettes that just move you in that way, they just transport you to that realm of when you just love the colors presented and you are just surrounded by these images and these visions, and you could just, that vibe, the mood, okay? This is why I love retro. Like the dying rose, the colors that produces, it is all in this palette. And you're like, where is Circo Loco? Circo Loco I love. I'm so happy Natasha went full throttle towards the all color spectrum of eyeshadow palettes. I ain't using that every day though. When I use it, it's fun. It's fun. I'm using this every day. And I just love, again, the way, like, even though I went a little smoky on the outer brackets, I do consider this to be daily friendly still, and the textures I think are really easy to deal with. The shimmers are just so smooth. I know Patty, people were like, Patty is so dull. Patty is there for a reason, okay? We need her. I love that rosy satin shade that's chill, okay? And if you wanted to bump it up, you could go in with either glitz or psychedelic. And while I understand the initial inspiration Natasha presented was the retro feel, the vintage feel, my vintage went way back into the Victorian era, okay? And because of that, I can't get my head out of that mood. So retro definitely blew me away, and by far my most favorite palette release of 2021. My SD card is running low, so I'm going to quickly present my favorite mascara for 2021, the Clio Professional Kill Lash Super Proof Volume Curling Mascara. I am running so low on this. The curl and just the way it holds throughout the day. The fact that it does not transfer on my lower lash line. Superb. And I love to combine this with Pat's Dark Star mascara because the Killer Lash is going to give me the lift and the hold, and the Dark Star is giving me that volume and plushness, and together, and the fact that I don't have to use Dark Star on my lower lashes because that transfers, I could just use this. It's a complete package, fam. I'm getting like 5 more tubes because I can't stop using this. The wand is just so easy to maneuver. You could get it right at the base of your lashes. It's so satisfying to comb through. It just feels bouncy on the lashes, very small, so again, easy to get on the lower lashes, on the inner parts of the lash, outer part, so it doesn't get mascara on your lid. I don't want to use any other mascara except that one. That's it. The Patrick I liked. After you use it again, but I didn't even bother because I just wanted to use my Kill Lash. I'm like, that one's better for me. Let me know what you think down below about the Kill Lash if you've used it, if you feel the same as I do. Let me know what you think about my eyeshadow palette picks. I was very excited to pull these out and talk about them at length. Maybe you could bring one up that I missed. I said I loved during the year and it's not on this list, so you can call me out for it. I'll see you tomorrow for best skincare of 2021. But until then, fam, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you in here again with another review, tutorial, best of 2021 video, monthly favorites, or vlog. Take care, and I will see you again soon.